Hey guys, thought I'd just show you a little jig I made up for tying off FG knots. I like to use them, but they're a pain in the ass to tie on the boat. So what I've made up here is just a bit of cutting board. It has two very cheap clamps, a bit of a paintbrush that I've cut down and screwed through, and it has a spigot that I use because I tend to put mine in a rod holder, which I've simulated here. So it basically sits in a rod holder and gives me something to work against. So what I do first is I get my braid coming from the rod. I tend to grab a bit of excess because you do want this to hold off firmly to give you a lot of traction as you tie the knot. I lock it off. Sorry, my phone's just telling me it's going to die. I'll lock it off and it's quite important to tie this side down and make sure it doesn't slip. I then leave a bit of a V in the braid, and then do similar on the other side, getting a firm connection, and then I just clip it off again just to give me hold it in place while I'm working. So I got this V. I then grab my mono or my fluorocarbon, whatever, my leader, and there you see I've got about 10 centimeters there, and then you typically just start your normal FG knot, right? You lock down, you tend to go in the same direction, right? You can see it's starting to form there, but it gives you something to pull against. That's the whole objective here. It's portable. I'm sure I could improve the design by making it sit in more firmly in a rod holder, but this works for me. You can see I tighten it down at every, and lock it down at every turn or iteration. You can get quite quick at it. Keep locking it down, keep it tight. Just having both hands being able to hold the knot really helps with the whole process. Now I think you're supposed to do minimum of 12, up to 18 turns. I generally keep going until I'm happy with it. It's already not slipping when I'm pulling on it, so just make sure you get a good bite on the mono every time you pull on it, and let the braids bite into it. Anyway, I'll just finish it off there, but you can keep going as long as you want, just to show everyone what it looks like. There's the mono. I hold it against the side going to the rod, and now you're pulling on this end here. So the way to do it now is a couple of half hitches to lock that side down. You're always trying to keep everything tight with this knot. I tend to do 3 half hitches on this side, and I've also got them. I'm going over the mono as well. I then cut the mono at an angle so it gives me like a beveled edge when it goes through the rod holder. So I try and cut the mono off at an angle, as close as possible to that. And then I go the other way, and you can see how having it in a holder tends to help you control everything. A couple of locks the other way, it never hurts. In fact, I find that if the mono tends to, the braid tends to fray a bit, so it doesn't hurt to do a couple of more each way. And that, in essence, is how I tied my FGs with my little, there we go. There's the FG knot. That was tied with a 40-pound braid on 30-pound mono, but I've done everything up to 100-pound braid on 300-pound line. Hasn't come off. All right, thanks for that. Hope this helps.